Hey there, thanks for tuning into Duckbricks. I'm Chris and welcome to a brand new Roundtable Bionicle discussion, where today we'll have the first episode of many where we'll be talking about the LEGO Bionicle prototypes. And oh boy, is there a lot to discuss. Over Bionicle G1's 10-year run and G2's 2-year run, there's been a ton of behind-the-scenes images, concept artwork, designs, and prototype sets that never saw the light of day until today. And so today for these roundtable discussions, we're going to be doing something a little bit differently. I'm actually hosting a bit of a podcast here where we'll be actually bringing in quite a few different members of the Bionicle community to discuss these prototypes. And so for this video, we'll be covering Bionicle 2001 to 2003, the early stages of the conceptual designs of what would eventually become Bionicle, the eventual designs for 01 to 03, and all of the different prototypes, concept art, and strange different molds in between. And so today, let's go ahead and introduce our guests.
Sure. I thought it'd be great for maybe we could all start with introductions. Everyone can introduce yourselves, say kind of what you're doing in the Bionicle community and kind of the stuff you're working on, and then maybe we can get started from here.
You want to go first as the commanding officer of
Right,
sure.
Yeah.
Big Brian.
Okay.
Big Brian.
I'll go first. So I'm King K. I am the head of Imaginui Tales, and with me are members of the team. We have Mika, who is one of our narrators. We have Ariel, who really contributes with a lot of the mocks and a lot of the canon characters that are in the videos themselves. We have Connor, who is another narrator and also a very prominent guy in the community. And we also have Lewis, who is, he's also a narrator, but he's also an artist. So he does a lot of really amazing artwork for the videos themselves. So the whole crew of, well, maybe not the whole crew, but a good chunk of the Imaginui Tales team is here, present to talk with you, Mr. Duckbricks.
Awesome.
Mr.
I mean, it's awesome to meet all of you. Thank you all for being here. And yeah, I guess we can go around and everyone else can introduce themselves.
All right.
I'm happy with that introduction. So, okay.
Oh,
Don't
okay.
know about anyone else. Yeah.
I guess I'll go. Sup? Name's Mika. I go by MikaX1337 on YouTube. I am a somewhat of a decent voice actor. That's why I kind of joined in on the narration. Figured, hey, more stuff for the portfolio, you know?
Yeah.
Currently, I'm working on an animation for the Bionicle Cataclysm collab, posted by ManiMax1613 and Shade2800. And in my entry, this is the most hype thing ever. But I got a special voice actor for this video. Greg Baldwin, the second voice of Uncle Iroh.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So
That is so cool.
yep.
That is awesome.
So as far as stuff I've worked on, I used to work on Roblox videos, doing voiceovers for that, which landed me a spot on IMDb. Helped with game design on Roblox as well, but most prominently, as of right now, I'm focusing more on my Bionicle animation.
Awesome. Pleasure to meet you. That's so cool that you actually got to be on a project with Greg Baldwin and have your own IMDb spot as well. That's really awesome.
Yeah.
I guess I could go next.
Sure.
I'm probably the most used to this kind of thing that you guys are, except Chris. So, hey guys, my name's Connor Hoffman. I am also known on the internet as Wombat Combat Pictures. I do mocks and videos about my mocks and other helpful tutorials and the like on the internet that some other people in this call may have followed and or supported. So yeah, that's what I do. And yeah, that's Wombat Combat Pictures on YouTube and pretty much everywhere else.
Yep.
And we get a don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and I
I'll got the
also
link below. It will be in the description. Please check out his stuff.
yeah, and I also I keep forgetting about this, but I apparently made the Canon Artaka model at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Let's go.
That's
Yeah.
something I did too.
Still a very impressive mock.
Yes.
Thank you. All right.
Chris, you have that one.
Oh yeah. I'm trying to build. Maybe not all, but I'm trying to build a ton of his mocks. Really big fan. I mean, I just built a ton of your Great Beings mocks, so I'm super excited to actually like kind of go in depth on those and review them. But yes, so
wow.
impressive.
Excited to see that too.
I have not seen. I mean, it's just kind of beyond building techniques that I've never been able to figure out on my own for sure. So it's really impressive stuff.
Thank you.
Well, you mind if I go next?
Sure.
My name is Ariel, known on the Instagram as Fishy Spawns. What I do is I try to represent the Latin community, and I simply build mocks for fun. I do like to build like Canon things. That's what I most enjoy, and collecting a lot of stuff. So I say that I have a little museum here in my house.
Oh yeah. Very nice museum too.
Yeah, that's really impressive. I know I've checked out your mocks on Instagram for sure. The name is very familiar to me, so it's awesome to meet you.
Yeah. I mean, I'm known as Fishy, and I just posted today a few things.
Awesome.
Oh, the Lariska mock. Yeah.
Oh wow,
Nice.
I see that. That's so cool.
Oh, I was happy with my introduction. So
Oh, okay.
All right.
Just making
you
sure.
can skip me. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I mean, I guess we can probably just get started. I have about an hour, but we could probably go over a little bit if we had to. I'm really good either way. I am totally happy to discuss really anything, do this any way, shape, or form, just by looking on the Google Drive, which I assume has been sent out to everyone as well. There's some stuff. I mean, I thought I had seen all the Bionicle prototypes, but there is some stuff on here that I've never seen before in my life. So kudos to Brian for finding all this stuff. I don't know how all this was digged up even, but a lot of really, really interesting stuff here. And I think we have one more.
We have a new one.
A phone.
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Hello.
Hello, Mr. Phone.
Is this working? Can you all hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Who is this?
Perfect. Take a guess.
Humble?
Wait, is that Trip?
No, it's Humble.
Oh,
Hi.
it sounded like Trip for a minute there.
Sorry to disappoint.
Nah,
Yeah, your name's just a phone number, which we won't say out loud.
Right.
Oh, well, no,
I will edit that out.
yeah.
I'm in the car right now. I'm kind of in between, so I can't really see anything. So I'll just kind of listen in. I'll put myself on mute, and I'll chime in if and when I can.
Go ahead and introduce yourself first.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. So I'm Humble Matoran. For those of you who don't know, I'm pretty much in any Bionicle community that there is. At least I try to be under the same name, Humble Matoran. I do mostly product design related Bionicle projects. I'm in this call because I just got into King K's server for script writing, and I don't know. I like pizza.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
Matoran- Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I think I've spoken to Duck Bricks once or twice before, so it's nice to meet you, man.
Yeah, it's nice to meet you. I guess over voice. I know we've definitely talked on Instagram for sure. I recognize your your name.
Yeah, so Humble Matoran, he's one of our newest script writers that I've decided to bring into the team.
Literally just yesterday.
Yeah, he came alongside with another narrator who I thought was really good with his voice. So I'm gonna, I don't know if he's going to join in on the call, but he's definitely going to be more in part of the team as time goes by. So.
Awesome. Actually, before we get started, maybe Brian, you could tell us a little bit about what you all are working on, what the project is and everything, just in case for the viewers out there who aren't aware of your project. Might be a good idea to go through.
Yeah, so Homogeneity Tales it's a collaborative YouTube channel that is dedicated for Bionicle lore. And what we try to do is we try to make specific topics for different aspects of the Bionicle lore, and we try to do it in bite-sized pieces because we believe that having the Bionicle lore in like 5-hour lectures or something might be a little bit too much to kind of digest. So we decided that maybe it might be better to introduce people to specific topics by just having the videos to be around, 5 to 15 minutes at most. So it makes it a lot easier for people to get to know the lore more and to really appreciate how deep the story of Bionicle is. Now, the thing is that at the moment, we're still doing a lot of these different videos about specific topics and all of that, but we are going to be introducing another aspect to our channel, which is called Terracova Talk. And essentially what that is going to dive into is more of the deeper kind of essay-like topics. So we might talk about things like what exactly is destiny in Bionicle? Like what does it exactly mean? Or perhaps what is the grand scale of Pterodax's plan, and did it really play out the way it did? Or was there some sort of obstacles that came along the way? So it's a lot of these deeper kind of real life connections, and perhaps we might even dive into like, artificial intelligence and what exactly is going to happen with the story as it dives deeper into that sort of aspect of morality and whatnot. So it's a lot of deep kind of essay-like videos, and we're slowly transitioning to that as we continue to really expand this channel. So.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that overview. That's really exciting stuff. Definitely we'll be including links in the description below, so please go check that out. It's really, really cool stuff.
So before we kick things off here, Christian Faber, who's kind of considered like the grandfather of Bionicle, thought up the whole thing, actually put out a video showcasing many prototypes for the precursors of Bionicle. Back then it was called Boneheads of Voodoo Island or Dooheads. We won't actually be going too in-depth into these because you can actually just go and watch the video on Christian Faber's channel if you want to see them close up. He has videos of all the functions, all the different kind of precursors to Rahi and Toa and different head forms. There's a lot of interesting stuff there, but they're not really technically Bionicle. They're more kind of their own thing. They're so far removed from Bionicle that honestly, we felt that maybe at some point we'll do a separate video on them entirely, but as it is right now, if you want to see some of the early models and prototypes from the Boneheads of Voodoo Island, which was what Bionicle once was supposed to be, you can go check that out in the description below on Christian Faber's channel. And now, without further ado, let's just jump right into the prototypes that are actually recognizably Bionicle, or for the most part.
I have the drive up, so I guess I can go ahead and share my screen here.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's particularly sorted, but we can go through, and I see there's another folder as well, so I will open this up too.
Oh wow, there's a lot too.
Oh my goodness.
Oh wow.
Do we want to start with stuff like part prototypes, like the early Kanohi having like the codes on the front and stuff like that before we get into the sets, or how do we?
Wait, they had codes in the front?
Yeah, it was a thing.
What?
Yeah, this was.
Yes.
We've already started.
Oh yeah, here we go. I guess might as well start with the how here.
Yeah.
So, does anyone know the story behind why they had the codes in the front and why those were removed? I personally do not. So I don't know if anyone happens to know about this or.
I know a little bit about this. It has been a while since I confirmed the source, so don't take this as 100% complete accurate fact, but I believe it was to do with linking it to the website. So they wanted it to be a bit like Kanoka codes. I think in other masks and other collectibles, they had them in more subtle places. So essentially, I think this was just the same idea, but the fact that they changed it kind of reflects a little bit of the change in mindset where they were like, well, no, we need to make it more presentable because they need to look the part for the story, and it wouldn't make sense if there were human text on these, on the, the masks of these characters. So I think this is kind of like an early example of highlighting that fairly early on they realized, okay, the story is actually quite important to Bionicle. We can't just slap on numbers there because it is going to create a clash quite obviously with the rest of the aesthetic and what it's implying.
Although the only way I can see them getting away with it is if they did it like in the Matoran language. That way it would just look like tattoos on the mask.
Yeah.
But like seeing the Miru there, it just looks like he has like a goatee of numbers and letters. Like, what in the world?
Yeah, the texture sort of makes it look like mask stubble, doesn't it?
Also,
the
little circle, that's an injection mode thing, right?
Yeah. I was about to point that out. I hadn't actually noticed that. So that sort of suggests they were also getting through the injection mold process to try and hide those little artifacts and details. Which I don't remember whether the Miru had that, but the fact that I'm noticing it probably suggests that it didn't.
Yeah, they definitely cleaned it up significantly for the final thing.
So very interesting. Very interestingly enough, they did actually put letters on the back of the Krana, if you remember that.
Yes.
Like they actually had letters on the back of the Krana, and those were in the Matoran alphabet. So.
Yeah. I always wondered what it would be like if they put the codes, preferably in the Matoran alphabet, but if they had to put a code in, I mean, if any, definitely put it on the back, I would feel.
Yeah, on the inside.
Yeah.
Well, there are codes on the inside.
And plus with the with the Miru there, with that little thing at the very tip where his nose would be, all I can just think is Liwa, the red-nosed Toa, had a very shiny nose.
Oh my goodness.
Fun fact on BS01 here, it states that the code is the same on the prototype Miru there. The same numbers are on the inside of the mask in the final version as well. So they didn't ever change the codes. They were the same all the way through.
Yep, that's actually because the codes correspond with the names of the designers for the specific Kanohi.
Oh yeah. I remember hearing about that.
Wait, really?
So I forget if it's the first name or the last name or exactly how it works. So each mask actually has, or at least of 2001 and 2002, they have 4 different molds for each mask. And so there'll be a number denoting that, but then there'll also be letters which denote, I want to say it's the last name or maybe first initial, last initial of the designer in the mask.
Yeah, that was something Faber talked about in the most recent TTV interview he did. I forgot that happened.
Yep. But there was actually a guy from Mask of Destiny that found that out like way back when.
Oh.
Do we have any other like part prototypes and stuff? I don't know, Brian, if you had anything else in mind in terms of part prototypes before we get into the sets, because I know there's a ton of concept art, but this is more like, I guess we're more talking about the physical models and whatnot.
Let's talk about the Burak Krana plate. That one's very interesting.
Yes. Where is that?
That's in
that
the
one.
first folder.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is super small.
Yeah.
It's super small. But,
the magnifying glass thing. Yes, I have seen this one. Yeah.
I've not seen this one.
Yeah, so very interestingly, the story behind this one was that in the early versions of the Burak, they wanted to have the magnifying glass as a way to sort of emphasize on the Krana that was inside of the Burak. So they had it so like it's basically like zoomed in as a way to show that Krana inside. But then I think they removed it because I don't think they needed it. It wasn't like necessary for them. And I would also imagine that just trying to mold these things together, like co-molding it is like, it's going to be more complicated than usual. So,
that's
but
what
that
I was
an
going to
interesting
say.
feature.
Because it looks like they would have to get glass or whatever in the in between the plastics, and that would just be a complete hassle just to do thousands of millions even of pieces. Like, my goodness.
Because they have the Lego minifigure magnifying glass piece, which does do that. But they don't, I guess outside of, I mean, that's an example where it definitely does make total sense to have that. But I guess for this, they probably realized, I mean, that close up to the Krana, it probably didn't really have that much of an effect anyways. Like, I don't know how much it would have magnified it because it's already kind of pressed flat against the glass there. But that's interesting seeing them consider that, but not go with it.
Yeah,
I mean, with
there
that
was somebody. Yeah.
I mean, with that magnifying piece, isn't that just the one piece and not like inserted into a piece of plastic?
I would have assumed it might just be one big mold, but it's not my area of expertise, so maybe it would have to be it would have to be like composite made with two pieces. But either way, it's interesting that they went for that idea, or at least that they considered it. And I'm not that familiar with I think the rest of Lego's pieces outside of Bionicle. So is that something that they've done elsewhere outside the magnifying piece, the magnifying glass piece?
Outside of that, no, definitely the magnifying piece for the minifigs.
I don't think they've ever done it besides in the one magnifying glass, like the piece that's literally supposed to be a magnifying glass piece for minifigures. Trying to think, but I don't think they've ever like done any sort of co-injection or whatnot to actually get that.
I don't think so.
So that alone, because it is a way to make the piece visually interesting. So that the fact that it's so rare implies that there must be something that's tricky or expensive or something that turns them off from doing that.
A bit of both.
Well, the original faceplates are two-color molded plastic, but they're not like marbled together. They're like, I don't know, they're like put in together with streaks. How do they even do that normally?
I guess they must get two different types of plastic and then get them to melt in a specific way. But each one had a very similar pattern in the way that they faded into each other. So that's some plastic wizardry there, definitely.
I feel like it's kind of how they did like the 2004 Matoran masks with the silver on the top, and they also did G2. The Uniters had their kind of different color on the back as well. In
the end, though, I think they kind of came with a bit of a compromise. So they were obviously, the Krana was sort of the MacGuffin of their era in a replacement to the Kanohi. So they wanted to emphasize it in some way. But in the end, they decided, okay, if we can't literally magnify it, then we'll just create contrast. So we'll make a translucent bit, but then add color. And then right in between where there's that transition from transparent to, the shell color, and then the contrast of the Krana color, that bit's naturally going to draw attention. So from like a, just contrast and color point of view, they did the same thing, but through different means, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's a good point. They chose really vibrant colors that I think their color choices for the Krana were really good in terms of like very good complementary colors. It also made them really pop, but not seem out of place, I guess, on the different Boron. That was a good thing they did.
A lot of them were also, in art, we call them complementary opposites, which it's basically colors that make each other, when you put those colors together, they stand out, especially like red and green or orange and blue. So they knew what they were doing.
For sure.
All right. Let's talk about the prototype Akaku.
Oh, that abomination.
Wait.
That one. The ice cream man.
Yes.
Yo, wait.
Why the long face?
Wait, stop.
Yes.
That was the prototype Akaku. That was initially how it was designed. It looks like an ice cream kind of mask. It's funny.
It looks fun, It just looks fun.
I think this is it reflects that the very, very obviously the pre-Bionicle era where they were still figuring out exactly what the aesthetic was going to be. Like they hadn't quite settled on it, so they were just trying all sorts of things, and you could see the the precursor of it. They had the idea of, okay, let's put a scope on it, and those sort of rib-like tubes. Similar things do turn up later in actual Bionicle, so you can see, this kind of like the grandfather of, grandfather of the Vikaku.
Yeah.
The other interesting thing about the process, and I think this touched on something you mentioned, Chris, was that the way that they prototype pieces changed, because this one looks either handmade or, like just molded in some way rather than kit bashed.
Yeah.
This almost looks like clay. Like that looks
Yeah,
like
it does. But it also reminds me of like from Star Wars, the ice troopers when they're on Hoth.
Yeah.
The snow troopers, yeah.
Yeah, the snow troopers with just tubes everywhere.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that would actually fit on a Toamata head.
Yeah, no, absolutely not.
No. Really long.
It would hang down way too low if the eye holes lined up, but maybe they hadn't fully prototyped the head they're supposed to go on yet at this time.
Though I don't think that would have originally been a scope. To me, that looks more like a headlamp,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Like a flashlight or something.
That would be cool, though.
Like a cave dweller.
Yeah.
Like a miner.
Kind of does look like, kind of give off like a miner hard hat with like a light
Yo.
vibes to it.
Yeah.
Yo, miners of ice miners.
The eyes as well remind me a little bit of if you've seen Inuit, like Arctic peoples, they would have like snow goggle lenses, and they didn't have glass to filter it, so instead they just had these slits. And
that's a good point.
Yeah,
I think they might be invoking that slightly.
Yeah, he's got like the whole Captain Cold glasses going on with the
Captain Cold.
Ice, baby.
It's interesting seeing like the transition from like the boneheads of Voodoo Island aesthetic to the more Bionicle aesthetic that we know and love kind of over the course of the different masks here, and some kind of evoke that more than others. Like the Komau here is like, I can still see kind of what it was supposed to be, but it's very much still within that realm of a completely different aesthetic that they were going for.
It looks very Karzani to me.
Yeah.
Oh, I can see that, yeah.
And the
Definitely
cutout, the cutout at the top also reminds me of the noble, not the Ruru. What's the one Winua has?
The Ruru, right?
Ruru.
Yeah,
the
that is the
Ruru.
Ruru.
It is the Ruru. Okay.
Yeah,
it
it reminds
got,
me of the Ruru.
Kongu and Ica mask vibes. It almost looks like they based that mask off of
with
this
the slanted
prototype.
back.
And it has a nose as well, a bit like the
Yes.
noble Komau. Something else as well, even when Bionicle started, I think there was an evolution in the aesthetic, particularly if you look at the noble masks. They look very different to all of the masks from, the rest of it. The ones that had circuitry on them, like on the actual surface, that just was never repeated after. Well, was it? I don't think it was.
Not really.
Not like that.
Not
I
really.
don't think so.
Yeah, I never was a big fan of. I don't know, how do people feel about the circuitry lines on the noble mask? For me personally, I'm not a huge fan, but I'm curious what other people think about it.
I
I
kind of
like them.
Yeah,
I
all right.
like them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
adds
with
to the
you. I didn't
aesthetic.
like them.
Makes
Fair
them
enough,
stand
yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Maybe if they did it more often throughout Bionicle, I probably would have appreciated it more. Like,
Yeah.
Honestly, I like the addition of detail to masks,
It probably didn't need to look as much like circuitry as it did, but anything that just added more texture and lines onto
That's
Kanohi
true.
masks, even in ways that weren't symmetrical, was always really cool, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think the circuitry was really to invoke that idea that these are biomechanical robots, and they really wanted to emphasize on that fact. And it was very interesting because it's like, when you look at the Toamata mask from 2001, much of the aesthetics for that one is like, they're kind of like smooth outside, they look like very sleek. Whereas for the noble mask, it's kind of like they kind of threw things on there, like, random circuitry, all this kinds of stuff in order to give that aesthetic. Not all of them. Like, I think Vakama's mask and maybe the Rao or Wanua's mask, the Ruru, like those were kind of like, they didn't have that much detail. They were more sleek in nature. But then when you look at like the Komau and and the Mahiki. Those are going to have more of the tubes and the circuitry in it. So it was very weird when they did have that transition of like noble to great when 2004 came around, and a lot of people complained about how the aesthetics don't really match. So it's like, why did this one look like it's very different, you know? But yeah.
Something that's just occurred to me, going back with the circuitry and thinking about the different roles that, you know, the different character types had, is that with the Toa, so they were very smooth, and I guess you might say that's similar to armor in a way. Whereas if you have exposed circuitry, then you're probably not going into combat. So maybe that was also part of the thinking.
Yeah.
So that, just an idea.
That's an interesting point. Yeah, I'm also curious to hear what we were just talking about with the whole differences between same characters but in different years. Unironically, one of the best things that, in my opinion, G2 did was like for the first wave of Toa that they did, it was like a good natural evolution of what I feel like the Mata masks were. But I think along Bionicle's run over the years, it seemed like the characters would be almost unrecognizable and only in name only for the most part, for like different iterations building off of each other. Like we mentioned the Taraga to the Toa Metru, and then also of course the Toa Inika to Mari, and the infamous 2008 Toa Nuva. I think they were the big offenders here. But
wait, infamous? What you mean infamous?
A lot of people don't like them. I don't know why.
Seriously?
Yeah. I mean, for me, Mystica and Fantoka are really cool. Like aesthetically,
same, yeah,
they look great, and I know they are supposed to be like the same Nuva Toa but with adaptive armor, and it makes sense. You know, it makes sense the change and how they look, where they are supposed to be. So I don't know, I don't get it why people hate them so much.
Yeah, I don't understand why people don't like the Nuva. I mean, look at these dudes. Look at them. They look so cool.
That is such a cool cover.
And shoes.
Yeah, Tim's for your Bionicle.
Oh my
god! I think as somebody who wasn't particularly a fan of the 08 Toa, the problem for me wasn't the sets themselves. I thought the sets were cool.
Yeah.
But for me, and it made sense that they would look different, and obviously they had to adapt to a completely different build style, with, you know, going from the Marta build style to the Inika build style, essentially. But I would have liked to see like more continuation, where with some of them, if you look at Liwa Fantoka, if you squint really hard, you can still see the Miru.
Yeah.
And if you squint really, really hard, you can like sort of see the regular Kakama in Pahatu, but not really the Kakama Nuva.
Yeah.
So, and oh god, I think Gali Nuva is perhaps the worst defender.
The waffle eyes.
Okay.
It was a cool mask, but you know, when I
the
look
mask,
at,
it's just not the cow.
I never really liked Gali Nuva's mask. I'll be honest. Like, it just didn't look feminine enough for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I felt like this was a golden opportunity to make it look cooler,
right?
Or, you know, streamline it more. And then they made, I don't know, like an armored train for a face, which is cool. But I'm like, that's not really the same.
Yeah, I think correct me if I'm wrong on this, but from what I recall, weren't the Toa, like the Mystica and the Fantoka, weren't they supposed to be like Jaller's team of Toa Mari until they changed like last minute the story to make them the Toa Nuva? I could be totally wrong about this, or it might have happened partway through development, but I recall hearing something about how they originally were designing them as if they were just the next evolvement of the current Toa team before they decided, if we're waking up Matanui this year, then it should be the original Toa Nuva. I could be completely off on this. I'll need to fact check myself, but
I've never heard about it.
Yeah,
I've never heard of this,
but it wouldn't surprise me. Unless there's anything else anyone would like to transition to, it might be, if you go back to the folder, there's something that we could discuss on early kit bashing, but I don't know if anyone else has something they want to bring up.
The only thing I have to say is, this is my fault, but I always thought that through every year, it was actually the same characters and not new Toa.
Well, yeah, of course. It was the red one, right?
Yeah, it's the
Yeah,
red one, the blue one.
It's the red one.
Oh.
But then it wasn't until like the movies came out that I realized, oh, these are actually different characters.
I mean, really? As I said, we only had 3 teams in the whole series, you know?
Yeah, that's true. So there actually weren't that many main teams, but I think, there's, I mean, to us, obviously, they all look very different and very distinct. And no, what are you talking about? This is very clearly this turn, this is very clearly that turn. But we have to step back and remember that, I was talking to somebody the other day, and they mentioned Bionicle, and I obviously like activated at that point and started gushing.
Yo, what up? Bionicle
man. They said, "Oh yeah, I used to have the blue one," and I just I had to take a moment to be like, "Oh my god, the meme, it's real." But it is real, obviously most people are just like, "Oh yeah, the red one."
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, what that gives me so much anxiety. It just reminds me of my job, because like I work at Lowe's. I mix paint. Is like, yeah, I want to color this. Okay, and what paint? What?
The blue one.
Yeah, the blue one.
No, legit. It's gotta be like, what finish do you want? Which paint do you want? How much do you need? No, I want this color.
That's where you need to have a lot of patience.
Which shade of color?
Yeah, exact. No, we have the swatches, so they show the colors, but.
I got something interesting I found on the TT message boards. I just added to the drive there. The another prototype Borak mask.
I have not seen this
face shield.
Whoa!
I don't know how legit that is, but it was just posted. Hey, I found this, and it looks like maybe like a first try at marbling the two colors together.
Again, I don't really know about plastics, but that does scream to me. They knew what they were going for. At that point, they decided they were going for what we ended up getting, but they were just trying to actually do it, and they hadn't quite mastered the manufacturing process yet.
Yeah, the page also looks 3D printed to me.
It also does. Yeah, it looks 3D printed. Yeah.
Wait, so is this actually a legit picture of a prototype? Because TTV message boards,
we're not sure.
People wouldn't lie on the internet.
It's in a prototype topic,
sure.
So I'm
don't know how
leaning more on the side of it being a prototype than not. But I mean, Lego does 3D print some of their prototype parts as well.
But
here's what I know. Here's what I know about the 3D prints, because back in the day, 3D printing was not really something that was consumer accessible. Like you couldn't get a 3D printer at your house. The 3D printers that they had back in the day were like very, very, very expensive. What they did was the laser powder kind of 3D printing. I think you know what I'm talking about, Chris. It's
you can see it by looking at this, I think. Honestly, you can see it,
Yeah, they use these powder. They use like nylon powder or something, and they use the lasers to actually pinpoint all the different things within the powder bed, and then you could take the piece out, which is all just powder fused together. And that was the way that they actually prototyped a lot of their pieces. You could see this later on in a little bit of the later prototypes that they have of the sets. Like, for example, whenever they bring the sets to like Toy Fair to actually display the sets and show them off, they don't necessarily have the pieces already injection molded at the time. So they would do the 3D printed pieces instead. So that's why whenever you see those prototypes, whenever you see those sets at the Toy Fair, a lot of the parts that they have, the new ones, they are very powdery, very grainy feel. So you'll notice that in a lot of the Toy Fair pictures. So
that's how Shapeways still does it today for a lot of their stuff. I mean, and it's definitely something that even very recently, at toy fairs when Lego still went and showed stuff at toy fairs, because apparently they don't do that anymore. But when they were doing it, I mean, I know exactly what you mean in terms of the texture and quality of the new pieces is very interesting to kind of see the prototype. So yeah, I do believe this is one, like this seems very legit to me. I also don't know how someone would fake this. So I mean,
resin cast.
I guess, yeah.
That's why I was so suspicious. Is like
that was also posted in 2015, though. So
okay,
that's way before that became like a common practice around the Bionicle community.
But even still, like,
could be done.
Was there like resin casters back then?
I would imagine so, but not for Bionicle pieces.
Okay.
Yeah, especially in the hobby community, a lot of stuff has kind of sprung up very recently. It seems very widespread now, but I mean, a few years ago, it was kind of unheard of to like resin cast a Bionicle mask and just have it ordered and sold to someone. So,
yeah, I think Socket Ball started maybe late 2016, early 2017. Sometime
I just got my Socket Ball order in. Those are so cool. Not to derail, but it seems really well done.
Yeah, but I'm impressed that I didn't even know that they had 3D printing technology all the way back then, and if they did, I would have assumed it would have been like scientific research levels of early. But that's fascinating. If you go to the LB folder, there's one I did want to talk about a little bit. So about kit bashing, I think it was near the bottom, the last ones with the little stand.
I have never seen. What is this?
So, according to a Facebook post, I made a note of it somewhere. I might bring that up if you guys really want. But apparently, this was I don't know if it's one of a kind, but it was a promotional stand that they like prototyped with an early Fiku spider and Krana pieces and something to promote the Matoran discs. And this one's quite interesting because it seems like they were doing what they ended up doing afterwards, where they would kind of combine pieces. So obviously you can see the Gali hooks there. And I think part of the reason that you start seeing more of the kit bashing later on is because it's a lot easier to remain consistent with the design language that you've created for the pieces if you make new pieces with old pieces, because of course it's going to be consistent that way. And since you already have them lying about, it's just an easy resource, so it's kind of like a win-win. The downside, of course, being that you're just recycling things, so you won't have pieces that feel completely fresh, but then also you run the risk of coming up with something that doesn't quite fit. But I always just found it fascinating that they would do something like that all the way back in, this must have been like 2000.
This is the earliest example of kit bashing I've seen in any Bionicle prototype. I mean, you see that with 05, 06, and a lot in 07, but like nothing like this early. That's so. I mean, they only had 1 year's worth of parts to work with. I mean, this is just 2001 pieces being messed around with. So,
not gonna lie though, that would have been a fun piece to play around with.
Yeah, definitely.
It looks
nice.
like a baby Nui Jaga.
Yeah.
Like a scorpion,
Yeah. 10 out of 10, Anna would adopt.
I found the source that I got this from. So it was on Facebook from Bionicleverse. Quote, rarity level 10 out of 10, the only known Lego Bionicle prototype sterling silver Kanoka disc in the world. It has different codes, a more rough look, and a weird shiny glossy gold look on it. But that's not all. Also has a prototype Scorpion piece, which was never released. It was meant for a promotion back in the day. So that's what they say.
Can we get it now, please?
I mean, you could build your own.
I think it's time for you to 3D model that and throw it up on
Hey, look. Shrek masks, duck masks, but I don't think I can make something that good looking.
I'll make that Shrek mock one of these days.
Yeah.
I think this is a good transition, actually. A good transition to the Kraken, which I thought was very interesting.
Wait. Hold on. All right, my defenses are up. I have my moon ready to fire.
So
Yeah.
I think this is a very interesting one because the original design of the Kraken was actually just like a kind of like a kit bash of like the Vahi and the Pakari together, and this was kind of like the inspiration that Lego went off of when they made the movie for Mask of Light. So when they created Pterodax, with his Mask of Shadows, it was shaped like the prototype Pterodax,
And
which
not
is why it
the
looks like
actual-
this.
Yeah, which is why it looks nothing like the actual crop.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah,
Huh.
like the actual one is completely different, and that explains why in the movie they look so different, because it's just they were basing it off the prototype.
And this is a pretty recent find too, because I remember a couple of years ago, it just appeared on eBay. Someone was selling the prototype Rakshi and Makuta, and someone spotted that it was just a Vahi and Pakari stacked on top of each other, which explained so many things about the Miramax design that we were all so confused about for the longest time. So,
okay.
Welcome home. I think my favorite part about that story is the fact that when Bionicle 2 and 3 were in production, they didn't bother updating the Makuta model to be more accurate. Even the mask, to sell toys or whatever, it's just like, nope, we got the model, we're good.
I mean, at that point, it was too late into the production, most likely.
Yeah,
It's
from
like-
what I've heard, they rushed the production like one movie after the other. So, but
It's
yeah.
like-
does not surprise me.
It's like,
At some
Oh,
point, they
crap.
had to have been aware.
oh
Yeah.
crap, this isn't the real mask. Oh, no going back now. I guess we're gonna go with it.
Yeah, pretty much. I suppose also with the, if they did update it to make it look more like the toy, it would also create its own, visual question mark, wouldn't it? Because then you'd be like, oh, well, he looked like this in the last film. Why does he look like this in this film? And it's just like, because buy the toys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is so cool looking, though.
Yeah, I
other
love that
things about
somebody, actually went to the
Recreated
effort
it.
of recreating it.
I know, yeah. Are there instructions for this? I may actually try to physically.
No, as far as I could tell from, I think it was on Mask posting, somebody just said that they reversed engineered it based on the really terrible eBay photos. They just did their best to try and guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that hard, honestly.
If you look at the breakdown photos, there's actually some prototype parts that are mixed into there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Look at the
Rakshi
Rakshi.
lines.
Look at the Rakshi shells. Yeah.
Yo, those look sick.
Those look just like they do in the movie.
Yeah.
That's
that
weird.
forward foot.
So the Rakshi shells are smooth. And also, if you look at the Matoran piece, the Matoran torso piece right there.
Yeah, it's the old one that you can see on the Jaller prototype.
Yeah, that's the
Oh.
prototype right there. Yeah.
A lot of times, I think they will start production on the movies without actually finalizing sets. So the movie animators just go off of what they have.
Yeah.
Yeah, this happens sometimes in the Ninjago TV show. It's not as obvious because there's very stylized interpretations of the sets, but there are a few moments where there's just stuff that appears on their vehicles and things that just aren't on the sets. And if you look at the leaked photos of the prototypes, it makes a lot of sense because they've just worked off of the prototypes to make the models in the show. So I guess it was kind of a similar thing. But I guess unlike Ninjago, where the changes are fairly minute and maybe a gun placement is changed here and there. I mean, these are some pretty radical differences, like the Makuta mask and the look and feel of a lot of the characters. So kind of funny to see how for one theme it was very, very different in terms of how it showed up in media versus another.
Right.
Yeah. That reminds me. If you go back and you look at the Rakshi prototype,
Yeah,
that one's a very interesting case too.
Yes, Rakshi, Anna's favorite.
Yeah. So the Rakshi prototype, they had completely different pieces. If you go down to the very bottom,
Oh.
yeah, like that.
Hold up.
These kind of look like
I
Masters of
that.
Disasters parts.
Yo, I want those parts.
These look like bootleg pieces.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they do look like
they
the
really
bootleg.
do look like the bootleg.
I mean, hey, parts are parts. They look amazing either way.
Yeah.
That does look 3D printed though as well, especially if you look at the ball joint.
Oh yeah, this is
Yeah.
definitely the grainy
Yeah.
kind of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
super grainy.
Yeah. And you look at the if you look at the head of the Rakshi,
It's
Oh,
just
very
it's
close
Nuju.
to the movie.
it's Nuji, yeah.
It's
cut
Nuju's
off.
head.
But it's
Oh.
very close to the movie counterpart, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, this
Oh,
is
yeah.
a lot closer to the movie. Yeah.
Well,
And,
okay, hold up.
Way better looking, honestly.
I honestly like this better.
I
Yeah.
loved the design of the movie Rakshi.
Oh,
I
Mhm.
thought they were so cool.
I'm seeing something right now. So if you look at the circles on the Nuju piece, those are the eyes. The grid is the mouth. Think about that for a moment.
It's very creepy looking.
Yeah.
Also,
Yo,
the upper
Oh
that-
yeah,
That would look so cool.
that's Karzachny like, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah,
shout out
that's
to the
terrifying.
McDonald's promotional bag on the ground
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
yeah.
yes.
and the
Or in the
trading
YouTube.
card
Oh,
sleeve.
I
This
hadn't-
training card that
yeah.
was signed, yeah.
Oh wow!
Yo.
Cool.
No, wait, that's a disc. I
That looks
think
like
that's a.
That's like the CD-ROM, is it? That
I
they-
think that's a.
No,
Oh no, that's like the McDonald's card thing.
yeah, the promotional cards that they had back in the day for the training card game.
Oh, right. I have
Also,
some of those. I don't know where
those,
they are though.
Kopaka
Yeah.
blades being used for the staff have the
Yeah, I was
ends
just
cut
about
off.
to point that out. Yeah, the modified Kopaka.
The spine's
Whoa.
pretty close to what we got. The back
Wait.
spike here.
The shoulders are way too different.
The
Yeah.
spine though.
The spine is different. It's different, isn't
It
it?
looks longer, and it's got the.
It's definitely longer.
It's got
and
the
then you
little
yeah, extra
thing
piece.
at the base of it.
Does that look a lot like the end of Nuju's ice pick, just enlarged and repeated?
Yeah.
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. Oh,
Kinda.
wait. It totally it really does look like.
Yo.
I think that's
On,
that
on the
piece
final
of
one,
it.
the spikes got progressively smaller, but they actually look pretty similar.
Yeah.
hmm
But again, I guess it's not quite, it's sort of kit bashing, but rather they just remade brand new pieces that obviously took a lot of inspiration. On
Seeing
that,
some Nuva leg in here. Maybe some like pieces of the joint / like the way this kind of curves in sort of reminds me of the Toa Nuva legs. but-
Yeah.
yeah.
Do those bend? Like, do they
No,
like?
I hope
They look
so.
rigid. They look
Yeah,
really
I don't
rigid.
think
I
they
was gonna
do.
say I don't
They
see
do
a
not.
separate ball and socket there.
That would.
Can we
oh,
talk
that
about the
would've been bad.
shoulders of the Rakshi real quick?
So
Those
boxy.
look so cool.
They look so blocky.
Is there an axle hole on the front of the knee?
That does look like it.
What?
It doesn't
Oh,
bend.
wow.
Makes
It's like an
sense.
axle hole. I don't know why you.
Wait.
This is definitely
wait.
some kit bashing like tomfoolery going
There's
on here.
a closer side view of one of them,
Oh,
and it does look very solid.
Oh my
Like one,
goodness.
the legs are all one piece.
yeah. This is. They definitely were like fixed at overnight.
Oh, that's so lame.
yeah.
Matoran limbs, anyone?
Yeah, I was thinking the
This is
same
literally
thing.
the 08 limbs.
And
Actually, it's worse because they're bent at even
Yeah,
greater
they're,
an
they're
angle.
bent even more. Yeah.
yeah, and at the time, of course, one of the big things about the Rakshi when they came out, the final ones, was their knees could bend. Oh my
Yes,
god!
that was the big selling point.
Yo,
Yeah.
The big
I
selling
loved it.
point.
Imagine the alternate universe where
Bionicle's
Those
just
came
never
out like
got
that.
knees.
Bionicle
Yo,
ended in 2003.
okay.
There's the head.
Yeah,
Yo.
that's a close up of the head there.
I wish they'd
But they
kept
still-
that
They
opening
still
up
keep the
ability.
red teeth.
This one looks less like a kit bash and more like it was modeled or printed this way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was. I think they did take like different 3D models and kind of, cut them up and then actually put them together and printed it like this.
Since we're jumping back a little, I think I saw another like 0103 thing. Oh yeah, there's an image of both Terracova. It looks from the thumbnail.
Oh,
it
that's
kind of
that's
looks
from
like
the catalog with the prototype Rahi. Yes.
yeah, it's got
Yeah.
like prototype Manaz in there
Yes.
at the
yes.
bottom.
The AI is having
Yeah,
a hard
there it
time
is.
with Puku.
Well, I guess in the meantime, we can take a look at these. Yeah, this is very, very different than what we actually got. I mean, obviously the play feature, it seems, has been completely changed, but what do y'all think of these?
Not certain, but is that the same function the Manico has, except without the brick in the middle?
Ooh, it is very similar. 'Cause it does have that grasping arm thing.
It
It's so
kind of looks
strange.
like the
Not
same.
quite the same, but it's similar.
Mm.
I mean, I guess they tried to recreate that function out of the parts that they had with the sets.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I personally like the Manus that we got. These were kind of like, I mean, they were
Oh yeah.
They look
odd.
a little bare bones.
Yeah.
I really like the ones that we got. I think it's just a quality toy in general.
It's interesting that. Well, actually, no. We did get one that was partially white. The
remote controller definitely never came in white.
Yeah. They're using the trans blue masks again.
Yeah.
And I can't really tell on the gray one. Is that a trans blue Rao, Noble Rao? On the gray one.
Oh.
Kind of looks like.
Oh, it is.
It is.
Wait, yo, no, it definitely is.
That is.
Wait,
Wow.
feed this to the AI. But
Feed this
Feed
to
it.
the AI.
I'm
We
pretty
need to
sure
make
it is.
sure.
I'm trying to see if there's any major differences with the Terracova. I don't think there are, unless the teal one is just green, which it could just be the color being slightly off.
I think
in
this is the color
scan.
grading being weird. Yeah. 'Cause
Yeah.
It's definitely not like right, but I also think that might just be the scan.
Yep.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like the Manus were like the last ones that they finalized.
Yeah.
They definitely look the least full out of all
Oh,
the
I
Rahi.
actually. Yeah, so the AI had a hard time trying to figure out what was going on there.
Yeah. Oh well, we'll look at the original one. It's not too bad.
But I do have a clear image of the prototype Manus, so I'm gonna pull
Oh,
this
fantastic.
Oh, cool.
one up. I'm gonna pull this one up because this one actually I think confirms it. Hold on. Let me see here. It's definitely a transparent RAW.
Oh,
I
nice.
have not.
Definitely. Like, okay, I sent you the image. Look at that. Look at that.
No, yo.
Oh,
That is beautiful.
I think that is actually a clear enough image that you could probably like recreate it.
Oh yeah. Ooh, someone's got to do that.
That is if that's the
You-
same.
I have a ton of extra Manus like remote controlled bodies lying around in storage. I will recreate it if someone like figures it out.
Is that the same body? I'm not sure what they look like by themselves.
I think it is. Wait,
It
Pretty
looks
sure.
like it's curved on the top to me.
wait, no. This is different. Because the I wait. Is this even?
Oh, they're different?
They're
I think they're different.
yeah, they're totally different.
Oh. I do like how the body is like they have like a white version too. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say Bricklink will have a clear picture of it.
Oh, yep, there we go. Yeah, because the IR like receiver, the receiver is like in the middle, and it's the piece has been Bionicle-fied here. Yeah,
Oh wow.
this is the actual. There's the other one which is very very different.
So it's a very different piece.
Is this?
It almost looks like a Throwbots canister, which I get is probably a long shot, but it kind of looks like the shape of one.
I'm trying to see if that piece is what I think it is, and it's been a while since I looked at this.
The only other piece I can think of are I think the spy bots. pieces. I don't know.
I was thinking about this, but it's definitely not because it did. This one did come in gray. Because it's not.
It looks pretty close, but
It's definitely not. But
it's definitely not. It's almost like a double-sided version of that.
Yeah. Spybots is also. Spybots is, I think, fairly different.
Yeah, I think it's fairly different. It's like a different piece altogether.
Yeah. I should get all these.
So we need to do a search on this actual piece, like identify if it's actually a completely new piece.
I'm sure when we put out the video, someone will know and comment if it actually exists. I'm not up to snuff on my like Lego like RC block knowledge. Like for all we know, like a train thing, I don't know. Like
it still blows me away that there's a trans blue Row out there somewhere.
I've never seen like a physical version of that like ever.
I've never seen a translucent one. Like I don't think anyone's even done a resin cast of one.
Yeah.
Someone should.
I think that's pretty wild, actually. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, I don't have the mana as, so do they have eye stalks in the Mata heads?
They do not. They definitely don't.
So it's interesting that they decided we're going to do masks and eye stalks for the eyes of our crabs.
Yeah, they just like replaced it all together.
The final versions we got definitely do look more crab-like, though.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I like what we got, but man, I wish we got that transparent.
Oh my man.
Yeah.
Maybe the trans Ruru was enough, or not enough. I don't know.
But yeah, so Puko and Gakko here look to be literally the exact same models, but Puku's just colored green, and the Gakko doesn't have the dark orange recolor for the stuff. But otherwise, these look literally identical.
Mm-hmm.
Kudo looks the same too.
Look at that.
They're blurred out.
Taka Nuva.
Taka Nuva.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
7 Toa in parentheses.
Just in case you weren't sure. There he is.
Oh, look, it looks like they censored the Mask of Light on Makuda's hands too. They're just like
for real?
whited out. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
You're really trying to hide that. Wow.
Except it's in the background, so fail.
Oh.
Good job.
I mean, Lego's definitely not been known to be good at hiding things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
But I mean, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great.
This was fun.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
All right.
is fun.
Yeah, this really was.
Talk to you all again soon, hopefully.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we'll have a part 2 pretty soon. Yeah.
We should. We
Sounds
should
good.
for sure.
Yeah.
All right. See you later.
Right.
Yeah.
Take care, everyone.
Adios.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, and with that, we have summed up this video taking a look at our discussion of the prototypes for Bionicle from 2001 to 2003. Next time, stay tuned for even more Bionicle prototype and concept artwork discussion, focusing this time on 2004 to 2005, aka the flashback years. Thank you all so much for tuning into Duckbricks. Stay tuned for even more LEGO news, reviews, discussion, and analyses coming your way very soon. And be sure to check out the links of everybody who joined us today in the description below. Show them some love, go support them, go follow them, and go and check them out. Thanks all for tuning in. I'll talk to you again very soon, and bye-bye for now.